So last time I was here, I did a little thing on It's Not About You, and the idea of that was that when you're in mediation and you're working with people, it really isn't about what you're looking for. It's not your outcome. It's your process. And so when we were talking about it today, the idea was that, there are a number of things that I think that we can give new mediators in terms of tools, but probably the biggest recognition is that it's all about you. Mediation isn't just a skill set, it's a practice. It's a business, and the fact is, as mediators, you're as good as the last thing you did. Reputations take years to craft and minutes to lose. And it's one of those things where it's not just that you need to be comfortable speaking and interpreting and facilitating and directing traffic and staying out of it. You also need to be conscious that you have a presence, you have a way of being, you have a language, you have a manner of conducting yourself that is as unique as your fingerprint. And the business that you craft, the business that you create, you have the option of creating it in such a way where you're like every other Starbucks, or you get to be you. And I think what I've come to understand is that inevitably and invariably you're going to be you. And you can try and be other people, you can wear as many khakis as you want, but eventually you're wearing black and smoking cigarettes and going out to people saying, why are you doing this? Because that's maybe who you are, and that's okay. So as we talk about this kind of things, we're talking about brand identity. We're talking about systems and process. And the idea that you can go from training that says that mediation is absolutely 6 segments done in a row in this way, without fail, to this, and you can say, well, no, it's really more like 3. And it's kind of like this, and this is kind of what I do. And you don't have to do what you think everybody is supposed to do. You get to create your voice. And once you have your voice, then I think you become a little more natural. The language comes from that process. The language helps you facilitate those things that only you can do, because only you are the one up there doing it. And so in that one way, it is all about you. And so my suggestion to you is that you prize it and you protect it. And you make sure that the brand that you create as a mediator, that style that you have as a conflict manager, or dispute resolution professional, or whatever the hell kind of logo you want to give yourself, that it's you, because nobody else is up there doing it for you. And there's really, no great way to do it. There's just a lot of wrong ways to do it. And you avoid the wrong ways by being able to defend the fact that it's you, and that it's always you. And when they're, contracting your services, you are at the heart of that. And so I just encourage you to know yourself, be authentic, get to where you are, and don't care about what anybody else thinks, because they're not the one getting paid and they're not the one doing the job. So that's my thing.
Well done. Shall we go into questions?
Perfect.
No, I was. I was just allowing. So Jereme, tell us who you are in mediation.
Well, the kind of Cole's notes on it is that I've got something of an unorthodox, non-lawyer, biker street kind of thing, and it's what I can do. When I got in, I had no idea what a mediator was or what it should be. I kind of Forrest Gump my way in here. So I wore khakis. I think I still have a sports coat. But at some point, it wasn't me. And I think everybody reaches that point where you're trying to say what other people want you to say, and you're trying to do it. And I think anybody who's taken the training has done what people have encouraged them. And eventually, you just have to break through that. And when I did, I stopped wearing khakis. Yeah.
So, Jereme, let's take the 6-step process.
Yeah.
And then, just in the context of your work, How structured is that? I mean, I know it's unstructured, but
It's not that it's, okay, so it's not that it's completely unstructured. So I do a 3-step process, and it's really simple.
Yeah.
It's, the first stage is everybody just getting on the same page of what we're talking about, what the minutia of it is. Well, you know, what legislation is it? What's the material that we're working with? All that stuff.
Yeah.
Once everybody's actually on the same page and dealing with the same information, I actually find that it moves very smoothly from there. Because then there's no disagreement about what we're talking about, which usually adds to the confusion and creates more conflict than it solves. After that, it's about, is there a deal? And there doesn't need to be. So, you know, I don't think we negotiate with guns to our head, and I don't think that we force resolution. But once we know what we're talking about, maybe there's a really simple solution. And if there's a deal that can be made, then it's about, can we make it legal? Is it something? I mean, you can't do a family mediation. Well, I mean, but you can't do a divorce situation with children where child support's not accounted for. A judge just won't sign off on it. So how do you deal with that when nobody wants to pay? How do you work with it in a situation where both parents are making $100,000 a year? Nobody needs to pay child support because nobody requires to receive it, but it's the child's right. And how do you account for that? And once everybody understands that this is what we're working with and this is what they want to do, then it's up to the lawyers or the independent legal advice that they will get to figure out if there's a way to make it work. And there's the opportunity for creativity in mediation that allows you to seek those things once you know the deal that you want to do, once you know what you're working with.
We can do a really fast one if someone has a good. Nope.
what kind of rate you're on?
Right now, it's 750 shadow. My next one's an Indian.
Excellent.
Okay.
All right.